What's up, dog, everybody? It's Torrential Downfall. Today I thought we could talk about Christmas, uh, where it comes from, what it means to different people, and some of the challenges it brings along with the joy. Thought it could be a good idea to start a conversation on it, which maybe you can continue with the ones you love. Where do we begin? How about with its origins? Christmas comes from a mix of traditions, blending early Christian beliefs with older pagan and Roman customs. The date, 25th of December, which I'm sure you all know, was chosen to coincide with Roman festivals like Saturnalia, a celebration in honor of the god Saturn, um, and also the birth of their sun god Mithra. Ancient people also celebrated the winter solstice, being the shortest day of the year, with bonfires and evergreen decorations representing hope and life, which may resonate to the Christmas trees that we use today. When Christianity spread, it adopted the 25th of December to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ, even if the exact date may be unknown. The word Christmas itself means Mass on Christ's Day, which would explain going to church on the day, and many traditions pre-Christianity also had celebrations around the time, like Yule from Germanic tribes. Today, many people who aren't religious, or maybe who aren't specifically Christian on top of that, will also still celebrate Christmas as a cultural event. That includes myself in terms of not being a Christian, but we'll still celebrate it. For them, and I guess myself as well, it's about spending time with loved ones, sharing that Christmas dinner, having the festive decorations and giving gifts, right? And it's a time to connect and enjoy the season without, for some, having that particular religious context. But Christmas isn't always joyful for everyone. Studies show that around 3 in 10 people in the UK say their mental health worsens during Christmas due to stress, loneliness, and financial pressure. The pressure to create the perfect holiday can be overwhelming. Many people experience anxiety and sadness, and unfortunately, the holiday season is linked with increased mental health struggles, including heightened suicide risk for some. And there's also, those financial burdens added on top of maybe their daily pressure can have a really negative impact. I mean, to put that into perspective, parents will often spend over £100 per child, compared to other events, and many worry about overspending or going into debt around this time. The financial stress can really contribute to holiday anxiety and to depression. And I guess one point that I think maybe we all know about but don't always talk enough about is kind of how Christmas has shifted from primarily a family and communal celebration to a more materialistic event focused on the buying and getting of gifts. The shift's been criticized by some because it changes the spirit of the season to this consumerism, right? But for the most part, we've kind of gone along with it, and that's the part that we're embracing more. Instead of being about connection and gratitude, it's sometimes become a competition of who's got the best present, who can spend the most, and that can add to general stress, but also it's almost diminishing the meaning of the holiday. In 2024, the average UK household spent £433 on Christmas shopping, a 5% increase from 2023. And December food shopping is typically £100 greater than monthly shopping through the rest of the year. 354,000 people, including over 150,000 children, were homeless in 2024, which was a 17% increase from 2023. Ultimately, the monetary cost of Christmas has tended to become more important than the community aspect of what Christmas represents. So I guess, the question I'd have is, how do we reclaim the true spirit of Christmas? The key may lie in community and charity, focusing less on those physical presents and more on the gift of giving, without meaning to sound corny there. Many people choose to volunteer, donate to food banks, or help those in need during this season. Sharing kindness and generosity brings a sense of purpose and joy, both to the individual but also to the meaning of the holiday. It reminds us that Christmas can be about goodwill and supporting each other, while also creating lasting memories and building up stronger communities, which could be super helpful, particularly in the current state of the United Kingdom. And I guess, despite everything I've said up to this point, right, if we take away the religious aspect, commercialization, community, who really cares about Christmas the most? In my opinion, it has been, it currently is, and always will be about the children. And if I were to ask the question, what does an ideal Christmas look like for them? I understand it'll be different for each kid, but maybe if we take an example, it could look something like starting on Christmas Eve, leaving milk and cookies for Santa's visit. Then, you as a child might wake up in the morning 3 hours earlier than normal, just unable to contain your excitement. You rush into your parents' room and wake them up, eager to see if Santa's come yet. You skip downstairs and start with the Christmas stockings on top of the fireplace. As you look under the tree, which would be fully decorated with baubles, tinsels, Christmas lights, you eventually find what had kept you up at night, which is all the presents. As your child, you're desperate to want to open them, but as it can be in a typical household, mum might say you have to wait after lunch. So you wait as your cousins, aunties, uncles, grandparents all fill the house. You have Christmas turkey, which could be the leg piece, which you enjoy, and it's carved by Dad, who's at the head of the table. And you have that with roast potatoes covered in duck fat, pigs in blankets, stuffing and cranberry sauce. You share your Christmas cracker with your sister and tell everyone at the table the corny festive joke that's inside. You finish that Christmas lunch and everyone moves on into the living room. Your parents tell you to wait until your family have opened all their gifts before you can touch yours. And that wait feels endless as people get their socks, their jumpers, their colognes. You've seen it all before. Finally, it's your turn and you're desperately hoping you've been a good child. You rush to your present, tear off the wrapping, and your eyes start to light up as you see the gift you've been imagining in the last few months exactly as you dreamed it. As a type of idle Christmas, it sounds lovely, doesn't it? The problem is only 1% of the population will have a Christmas like this. Firstly, not everyone has siblings, so Christmas may be a bit smaller. Parents may also be divorced, so is it staying at mum's or dad's this Christmas? One parent may have even passed away, or even worse, the child could be an orphan or homeless, like we mentioned before. Some children may be in homes of abuse, and being home for Christmas may be a really difficult place to be in. And from a parent's point of view, we've discussed the increase in costs, but, how do you explain to your child you couldn't buy such expensive gifts this year when their friends may be getting everything that they wanted? How do you ensure kids don't blame it on themselves when, we always preach that good kids get the presents they want at Christmas? And I think this is where we need to come together as a community to change the focus of Christmas, and make a holiday that's really about the people rather than the presents. Let's flip the script and make Christmas not about what you get, but about the memories you can make with the ones you love. Look, we're not going to change the world. So much money is made from the holidays, and particularly in Christmas, right? And the fat cats want to get fatter. But if we can make, one school, one family's, one child's Christmas a happier experience, then, I think that's worth fighting for. A really good idea I saw on Twitter, I apologise, I can't quite remember the handle, but I'm definitely not taking credit for this. But it was about donating, toys from last year, in the lead up to Christmas. So at the end, this November, kind of start December period, rather than everyone getting rid of their unwanted presents in January. This way, those who are looking in charity shops have presents to give on Christmas, and they aren't stuck on shelves, end of January, start of February, when people aren't looking. One thing I did as a child was actually wait until after New Year to get my presents. This way, my presents were cheaper in the New Year sale, and sometimes Boxing Day was also a family outing where there are plenty of sales as well. I personally had a very traumatic Christmas awakening at a young age, so I know it may be hard for kids to be getting their presents after the actual day. So we've got to try and think of ways to enable them to, get them on the day, or creative ways to explain why they may not be getting it on the 20th, 25th specifically. But, if we can start to incorporate things like caroling, volunteering, family activities, or, not specifically family, it could also just be, loved ones in general. We can start to work on making Christmas more about community rather than coins. That's a really bad way of putting it. I could have said, family rather than fortune, but again, I don't want to focus on everyone having an ideal family, so to speak. But thanks for watching, everyone. If Christmas is tough for you or someone remember that you're not alone in it. Focus on what really matters: spending time with loved ones, giving kindness, and taking care of your mental health. And always, please, do nice for yourself. Please do something nice for yourself today, as long as it hurts no one. Bye.